I think that signifies how we all feel right now. Welcome to E2C Network Live, where we talk about anything and everything Auburn. Always Auburn sports heavy here because it's orange and blue. It is what we do. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our post-game show, post-game reaction show, off the cuff discussions, points of view, opinions, derogatory rebuttals are going to abound today on this reaction live stream. So thank you guys so much for being here, for wanting to be here, first of all, and wanting to participate in this. That means a lot that you guys would come by and spend that. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way. There's going to be a ton of We Ares, ton of Penn State fans here stopping by. I see Auburn sucks, like all, come on, just, it's all a part of it. Bring it all in, take it all in. It happens. So yeah, expect a lot of that tonight. We also will, the implication of this game will mean that a lot of people will want to discuss Harson's future. Obviously, we can't avoid that topic, but hopefully we can try to talk more than just simply that. What happened? What went wrong? What how to make sense of all this. This is just a reaction show, no stats and stuff like that. Just trying to make sense of what's happened. So we'll take some comments and questions from you all throughout the night. I do apologize. I don't have my normal mic set up on me right now. So please do let me know if anything sounds off or anything like that. I'm doing the best I can because the mic situation is not working today. And hopefully our internet quality is going to be okay. So with that being said, let me just open up before I get into some comments and questions here. Right off the bat, our worst problem is not our quarterbacks, despite what you all may think. The problem has been and continues to be for the last 3-4 years, the offensive line. And I say that with much regret because I love those guys. I love so many of their stories, how many of them stayed here, but they are not getting the job done. Now, we talked a lot about this week about this being a barometer test for where Auburn's at as a program this year, but overall as well. Did not pass the test. The barometer does not look good. Now, I would caution everybody, it's the unpopular opinion, but it is still a long season. Season's not over. Sky's not completely falling, although it is not great right now, but it is a situation. There's probably not a unit when we come back on Monday. Yes, we will do this again and break down and grade with Benjamin King, Captain Plainsman. There's not going to be good grades going around very many places, probably, when it all comes down to it. All right. So again, just keep in mind, folks, there are players that actually watch this, family members, close friends, relatives. So let's keep it constructive. Let's keep it productive. I know everybody's frustrated, and I know that it's not how so many want to choose to handle themselves online. Long season. Yes. Yeah, it is a long season. Always is, thankfully, because I love football. I love Auburn football, despite how bad it may be. 12 quarters and no turnovers. Yeah, I hope that's not lost tonight on the discussion points, is that the defense has just as much to ask themselves as the offense does. I think there's a lot of individuals defensively that are doing a lot of great things, but it doesn't seem to be coming together in some turnovers, especially. Now, we did cause, I believe we caused that fumble, but it fell right into the Penn State guy's lap, and he was just scooped it right back up. So, we were causing a fumble in this particular game, but it didn't amount to anything, obviously. Let's see. Keep your comments and questions going. We're not going to handle, if you guys got just ridiculous comments, you're not going to get onto the show tonight. So that's just going to, you just know that going in. If it makes you feel better to post those things, go right ahead, but it's not going to get you on. Being 8- in the turnover is terrible. Absolutely it is. And I'm glad that you guys are talking a lot about this because, the easy thing for us to go for is the offensive line. The easy thing is the offense. But, this is a much bigger problem than just simply the quarterbacks even the offensive line, there's a lot of things that are not working well right now at this point. Can they get turned around? Will they get turned around? And all that remains to be seen. Doesn't feel like it right now, does it? But I personally am not ready to throw in the towel, but I understand why there are a few people that feel that way at this moment. After how am I messing up? Papo shellacked their quarterback to open the game, I knew we were about to dominate. Oh, at that moment. Yeah. I mean, so here's the interesting thing about this game is that Auburn was in this game up until really that, when they got up by 3 touchdowns, 3 scores. That was really where the air was let out of the balloon. Auburn was showing some signs of life at times, especially in the first half. And I honestly believe if we go down and score 2 touchdowns as opposed to field goals, maybe they still win, but we're talking about a much more impressive loss than what we're talking about right now. And really that's what it's been a lot, especially the last 2 seasons, is not finishing in the red zone and getting more than field goals. Thankfully, Carlson is just as effective as ever. So at least there's a positive right there. So take what you can get, I guess. Let's see. And y'all just bear with me, on these on-site reaction shows, my setup's a little different, so I have to kind of scroll through all of these things. Just a random question. What section were you in? Section 43, row 35, seat 21. That's how bad this game was, is that I took the time to memorize things like that. Sadly, I actually have a paper ticket for this game. For the person I bought the ticket from had the paper ticket, so you would think I wouldn't want to keep it, but it's still a really cool event to have been a part of, despite how awful this game was. Because this was the first game for the Big Ten here, the first game for Penn State. And, I know this is going to be lost in this part of the conversation on this reaction show and just throughout the rest of the weekend while we talk about this. Outside of the result of this was a really cool weekend. I really appreciated getting to spend time with some Penn State fans. They seemed like they enjoyed themselves. Well, clearly they did. They seemed like they were having a good time, being treated well, and the reputation that we have in terms of how we holistically, not just individually, everybody's got bad apples, treat opposing fans outside of Alabama and Georgia. They got treated nicely. So that was a continuing theme there that if we're going to take wins tonight, take a win there. All right, I'm going to skip ahead. I'm sorry. If there's really a comment that you want addressed that's appropriate, and you feel like I would keep skipping over, just could keep putting it back up at the top, because I'm gonna have to keep skipping forward. Way too many Penn State fans there. Frankly, I didn't mind it. I actually love that because it makes for a great college football atmosphere here on campus. I mean, how many times do you come to campus for one of the rinky-dink games and it's just like, oh, we show up to the game and that's it? This was fun to be on campus, not just on game day, Friday. I know that they were showing up on Thursday as well. My hat's off to them for how they travel well and for the most part, how they conducted themselves. So there you go. You were acknowledged, Kyle. I mean, Brian, I said my name. You were acknowledged. You said a comment earlier. Yeah, let's see. What are the odds I can get my daughter to block the O-line next game? I don't know, man. I don't know at this point. I don't know. Let's see here. Penn State fans rolling Toomer's corner. Is this legit? It is directly that way. I will go take care of that right now if I need to. If that is actually happening, I will go make sure that stops. This is not a day to be messing with Kyle about Toomer's corner. Don't even attempt that. Russell, it's a great question, right? Not to just completely dismiss that, but we gotta start asking questions like where the main problem is the offensive line, as it has been for the last 3 seasons. Where I'm sitting right now after this game, TJ is not the quarterback he doesn't seem to be the quarterback that we need for the type of offensive line that we have. As many problems as TJ had today, he also made some really great plays that I think shows his experience especially third down plays. And Robbie showed his athleticism again at times, but also showed that he's young and makes a lot of mistakes that young players make, especially. So it's hard for me to really say neither of these two guys can get the job done because of how they don't seem to be as supported as they should be by the offensive line on the surface. So is Zach Calzada? There's a reason he wasn't giving the starting or the second string job. I don't know what that reason is, but there's a reason for it. All right, skipping forward ahead, a lot of comments. I'm sorry. Where is Auburn at in the SEC? Garrett, that's not even a question we need to ask right now. We just need to ask where Auburn is at in general. We will find out next week. We will find out. Missouri is definitely one of the lower tier teams, and depending on how that goes, we will be able to figure that out. We are not last, high fly. That is always reserved for Vanderbilt, so you can always rest assured of that. I was mad that I had to go to a wedding today, but I'm actually kind of glad. Fair point. I like to say that I don't ever regret going to a game, and I don't, but I do get frustrated when that's what I have to put up with there. So I think that's a reasonable response. Got to make them play downfield so they don't stack the box. Fair. Yeah. We need a spark for the season ahead. I agree, but a lot of people thought that was going to be, Robbie, and he still could be. But I think you continue to see. I hope we will stop with the conversation that Robbie is far superior than TJ based on what we've seen right now. Can he get there? Absolutely he can. I hope he does. Or can TJ figure it out? Possibly. Just where I'm sitting at right now with the quarterbacks, TJ, I don't know, is the best suit for what our offensive line offers. Robbie gives a little bit more escapability. Sometimes, a lot of times great, but sometimes to detriment as well. I felt like some of the bad things that Bo did in terms of running, Robbie kind of got into a habit of doing tonight, but much like because of the very reason that Bo had to as well. Now, Devin, I agree with you a lot, Devin, but I am going to put you not on blast here a little bit, but I think that's incorrect. From what I know about Hugh Freeze, and I'm not just talking about for football players, he has changed a lot from on the outside looking in, made a lot of changes. And, I'm speaking as I know a lot of you share the same beliefs. As a Christian, we are supposed to forgive, but it doesn't mean forget. And that does mean that sometimes consequences still follow you. So we really don't even need to have the whole Hugh Freeze conversation, but I don't think that he is a horrible person. So I will disagree with you there. I hope you understand on that. That's just, I've heard that narrative a lot, and I don't think we should count past sins against someone. When we get to that point, if we ever get to that point, that we have to start having a conversation about a new head coach, which I know a lot of you are very much in favor of at this point. But I guess I would ask you all, is a coach change what's best for the program right now? Any thoughts? I don't know. And again, to clarify a little bit on that Hugh Freeze point, it's not a black or white situation. I just think we need to be careful about how we approach those situations. People can change and people can rectify their mistakes, but same thing goes for quarterbacks. They can get better, right? But apparently it didn't get super better. No, a coaching change is not good. I'm inclined to believe that as well, Neil. But we have to, be able to ask the question of where does the line get drawn? And I don't think that line has been reached yet. It's very easy to feel that way after this game. And so I understand that, but I don't think that time has arrived yet. I think much more damage will be done if after this game a firing is made. And I'm not saying it won't happen. If a player can go 190, what was it? 190 yards. Wow. Can go 110 yards, 109 yards on a kick six, then anything's possible. Cortland says, I still think Harsin needs time. He's playing with what he has left with what was left for him. Is that what you mean? Yes, he is. But you want to start seeing in year 2 some progress, albeit this was a very tumultuous offseason. If we walk out of this stadium with a much more impressive, much more, and I just realized it's getting a little dark in here. Let me turn a light on it. That doesn't really help all that much. I don't know. It's tough. This is a tough situation to really break down. This is a tough situation to really digest. I hope that comes across. I'm kind of at a loss for a lot of things right now. Again, this reaction show. I stand behind Kyle. I wouldn't stand behind me. That's not solid ground to stand behind. We need Bruce Pearl for head coach. Well, he's basically the head coach of all Auburn right now. Athletics, it seems like. Salvatore, the problem is the quarterback. Finley is a pocket passer who can't go through his progressions, who plays an RPO scheme, but he isn't athletic enough. I disagree. I think TJ's abilities are not able to be displayed with the support he doesn't get from the offensive line, which is why it seems like a Robbie type guy is maybe the best bet. They're through 3 games, the most life seems to come when Robbie's out there. But there's also some problems that come with that as well. I think TJ shows a lot of moxie at times that you would expect out of a guy of his tenure, especially on some third downs tonight, but it just isn't enough. Coaching change isn't good, but it seems inevitable. New AD, president, losses. Yeah, but it's one loss this season. I know, we can talk about last season as well. That's the big question when we start talking about coaching changes. You need to ask, is this just what I want because I'm hating what's going on right now, or is this actually what's best for Auburn? I don't know that I think it. I don't think it is at this point as bad as things right now. We need John Gruden. Salvatore says, winners don't talk about impressive losses. Not making fun of you, but I kind of am. I know. Hope you don't take offense to that. But that's one of those old grumpy man sayings. And I'm an old grumpy man, so I can say that. I'm not that old, but I'm kind of old. Katie Johnson for quarterback. Hey, listen, I am up for anybody at quarterback that can figure out how to work with what the offensive line gives them, with the ability of our wide receivers. Whoever can get that done, I don't know. I'm sorry, Devin. I didn't see your comment earlier. I feel like my comment is being ignored. Just wanted to say there's justification for the opinion I have about Hugh Freeze. Absolutely. I'd love to, Devin, I'd love to actually, outside of this conversation, hear your opinion on it. I'd love, because you seem very sure about it. So I'd love to hear your perspective on it. But I just want to, I see that opinion, not just by you, a lot about Hugh Freeze. And I want to just make sure that there's fairness, especially when it's something live like this about someone like that. But I trust that you've done your research and know things, so I'd love to hear your perspective on it. Let's see. At what point do we stop making excuses for the product of football we put out on the field? Well, I don't think anybody's making excuses. I don't think there's anybody making excuses tonight. I don't think anybody said, well, this is just a fluke, all that kind of stuff. And I think every Auburn fan tonight is on the exact same page. This was a horrible game, an embarrassment, in basically the majority of the facets of the game. And we're all mad. Rightfully so. And, here's the thing that's lost in all this too. The players and the coaches are more mad than we are. And I know it doesn't seem like that, but they are. Do you think we need the right people for Auburn? Green. Not sure what you're getting at. Well, yeah, I think we need the right people for Auburn. But what does that mean? Let's talk about Deshaun Watson while we're at it. Lord help me know. Doesn't matter who your quarterbacks or running backs are if your O-line gets blown up right after the ball gets snapped. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep like rehashing and recircling the same stuff, but I mean that really is what it amounts to. We talked a lot about in our pregame shows this week about, especially when we talked with our Penn State fan Fred. Which congrats, Fred, if you're watching us. The game would be won and lost by the front seven of either team, and the front seven for Penn State did a lot better job overall. I felt like. Whether that's because the offensive line just didn't do well for Auburn or because they are just that good. I'm inclined to believe it's somewhere in the middle, but, kind of looking at it from right now, it's hard to really process all these things. There will be a lot more clarity and there will be a lot more focus about a lot of these things when we get to the end of today. When we get through Sunday and Monday comes around, we'll have some more focus on some things. I can tell you this, guys, I know it doesn't seem like it's going to be a fun show to be a part of on Monday, but Ben King's going to have a few things to say when we break down and grade everybody. So don't miss that. Corey says, Kyle, do you think our offensive line is small? I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, that's the big conversation is that Tate was smaller, but again, it was against lesser opponents, but it wasn't a problem against that. Size doesn't matter. It's the size of there we go. I'm going to stir some people up. Size only matters in terms of the fight of I'm messing it up. The size of the fight and the dog, not the size of the dog and the fight kind of thing. I know that's an old saying and it's kind of boring and cliche, but it really is true. Your size will only limit you as much as you let it limit you. Does Auburn beat Marshall? Probably so. What are you doing? What are you going to do about the lawn chair holding? The lawn chair holding. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Seems small the way we're getting pushed around to me. Well, but that has, in my opinion, has very little to do with the size of the offensive line and more with technique. And I'm getting really dark, so we'll probably wrap this up in just a little bit. I know the sun started setting really fast. That's a little better, kind of, sort of. Can't really see me, I know. Sorry, guys. It's the nature of doing these things on the road sometimes. Let's see here. Better beat Mizzou or no wins left. I guess you're not counting Western Kentucky there. I disagree with that. I think if you are at the point where you are just dismissing the rest of the season simply because of this game, you're not being very open and you're not also being very fair as well. One bad game does not destroy the entire season. Now, does it show that we have a lot of weaknesses and a lot of things to work on? Absolutely, it does. Not denying that whatsoever. And we knew that already. Yeah. Good news is 11 a.m.s mean more light for post-game shows. Well, typically I have the light set up here, but I misjudged how quickly the sun was going to set over in this location that I'm in. Because I was like, oh yeah, I got about 30 minutes worth of good sunlight, and you can tell in the time that we've been here, it's been going right down. Glad you enjoy that, the light. I'm trying my best to make the mobile broadcast studio a little bit better for y'all. We have the hardest remaining schedule. Be real, Kyle. We have 0 wins left if we don't win. No, I mean, I don't think that's being real. I just think that's being a negative Nancy. Personally, that's just me though. Kyle, you look like the Godfather with the lighting. Will you? I made Auburn an offer they couldn't refuse. Batman. Too many mistakes is why we lost. Yeah, 100%. So there are, there's a lot of people that were talking about, and I agree. We posted about them too. The very blatant missed holding calls, but no amount of holding calls actually being called in this one were going to help us. This is totally Penn State outplayed us, outclassed us, not outclassed us. They outplayed us. They were just better in most, if not all, facets of the game. This is on them, but we certainly made it much easier for them. 4 turnovers, I think is what it was. That will lose you games. Much less losing the turnover margins, but 4 just in general will lose you games. Because really, if we look at it, if Auburn doesn't turn over maybe only twice, this maybe is a much different game. Rice Life, I'm actually not, and sorry, Penn State fans, if you watch this, I'm not convinced they're all that good in terms of being a top 10 team. I think they're definitely a top 25 team, clearly. But I don't think that they're there quite yet. I'm going to need to see more consistency out of them against tougher competition than us right now, and that we're not tough competition at this moment. But that can change. But I also, they just haven't, they played Purdue, Ohio, and us. It's not really the cream of the crop at this moment. This is the part where he tells us we got the head coach. No, I wouldn't wish that evil on people on my team. It's like I actually, I supposedly could have had an opportunity to walk on as a kicker at Auburn because I kicked in high school, and I couldn't do that to my team because see what happened with Ben Patton last year. He got put in position in the Iron Bowl, and thankfully he rocked it. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't wish that evil on you guys. We are in week 3 and do not have a turnover on defense. Very disappointed. Absolutely. Penn State plays Michigan in 2 weeks, so that will be a great test. So I would like to reserve the comments about Penn State being great and being a good team until we see them play Michigan. And then, maybe we sit back in 2 weeks and look at that and be like, if they beat Michigan, you're like, all right, at least we got walloped by a good team. But right now, I don't, as much as I get accused of being a Pollyanna and looking for moral victories and stuff like that, I don't want to take that moral victory that we were beaten by a really, really good team. I think we were beaten by a good team, but not a really, really good team. All right, we'll take a few more comments and questions here. Michigan hasn't proven they're good either. Well, maybe. We'll find out. Okay, we got clarification. Doesn't play in 2 weeks. Whenever they play them or if they play them, they will play better competition when they get to Big Ten play other than us right now. Need to play with our heads up and still play smart. We still have a chance. And Rise Life, I agree. I think that's what's being lost in a lot of commentary, which is the nature of a reaction show, the nature of people going on Twitter and, getting all in their feelings, is this season is far from over. We know what the problems are. The question is, can we fix them? Right now, it doesn't feel like it. Will that change? Unfortunately, only time will tell. What about Holden? If things get bad enough, sure. I don't think we're at that point at this moment. So, Ryan, is that a clarification? 3 weeks is when they play? Thank you. Garrett's just trying to stir things up, so we're going to ignore Garrett. Elvis, the sky is falling. Have you not heard? It is. Yeah. I thought there was a question I wanted to take back here. No, I don't see it anymore. Or at least I can't find it. But we were beaten by the 4th best Big Ten school. I don't think they can say that the 4th best at this moment. There you go, Whit. Tank's not overrated. The O-line just is not good right now. Read Philip Marshall's post. I'm guessing you're meaning the Philip Marshall 24/7. I haven't had a chance to look at that yet. Honestly, I kind of took a quick glance at Twitter and said, better not right now. There are just some things you just don't want to do for your soul. Let's see. First Big Ten game at JHS for a big OL. Yes. yeah, I mean, obviously that's the reality of it. You win them, you lose them. Sometimes they just don't go your way. Guys, we tried in the first. We should have kept going. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how different things were from first half to second half. And it's just like at a certain point. How about this? Kind of getting your head around all of these same problems that we have. It seems like we are able to hold off some of these issues we have until finally the balloon burst in these against better teams. And Penn State, was a better team tonight. So that seems to be the trend that we need to figure out how to happen. I still believe Auburn can get some surprising wins. I absolutely do too. They have the talent. They have the drive to do it, but they do not have the. I'm trying to get my head. Maybe you can see me a little bit better now, but it's harder to read the comments. It's hard to feel like that at this moment. I'm old enough to remember when Auburn was only down 6-7 against Penn State. Devin, I am so excited to have you here next week. Like, I hope, we get to hang out some and get to do that, because despite all this crap that's going on right now, homecoming week is one of my favorite weeks, even though it's usually against a team. Well, usually it's against a team that's not that good, but who knows the way we're going right now. But I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. And I hope that everybody can kind of get past their frustrations right now and come into town and enjoy it, because it will be a good time. Yeah, I'm use my better judgment, not bring that comment up, because I don't think people are ready to rationalize with that yet. Will anyone show up? Yeah, everybody. There's going to be, it'll won't be a sellout. It will be probably comparable. Well, you wouldn't have a comparison since you haven't been here recently. You're probably going to see the upper decks about half full, and especially because it's a noon game, it's going to be so hot next week. The upper decks are going to be only about half full. So that's probably what, 70 to 75,000 show up, something like that. It'll be a good time. Just, try to find some happy thoughts and move forward. It wasn't even TJ, who still makes boneheaded decisions, who made all the mistakes this O-line today was horrible. And I'm glad that most of you recognize that TJ made his mistakes, but there are, and that's the funny thing is, I usually when I'm talking in person with people about these problems of Auburn, most of them are willing to relent to the fact when you say, well, I hate how TJ's playing. I hate how Robbie makes mistakes as a young guy sometimes. And I'm like, still, the problem is not, the biggest problem we have is not that, it's the offensive line. And they know it. And I'm not saying anything that is a revelation to the coaches, to the players, or anything like that. I just want them to be better. No. We're done with Muschamp. We are done with Muschamp. At least I hope we are. All right. I will take some final comments and questions, because obviously the light is getting worse by the minute. Next time, Kyle will note at this time of year at 6, or was it almost, I guess it's almost 7:30 now. You need to turn your light on, your external light on. So we'll make that adjustment this time. A couple of reminders for you guys. This week, tomorrow night, it'll be a good kind of palate cleanser, as we intend it to be. The Auburn Experience episode 4 live recording will be on YouTube exclusively. So those of you watching on Twitter and Facebook, you have to come over to YouTube at 9 Eastern time is the plan to have that going live. So come on over. You can also listen to it on the replay on a podcast app. This Monday, breakdown and grades with Ben King come back, lament about this some more, help us grade out, which we all know they're not going to be great grades. And then, of course, we'll have our regular schedule Wednesday night call-in show, and then a preview show for homecoming week. And then I will be back in town again. We're going to have a lot of more fun things to discuss next week. I'm confident of that. All right, I'll take some few more comments and questions here. Kevlar, how do we proceed going forward? Is TJ going to sit while we restyle the offense for Ashford? I don't think you restyle the offense. I think at this point you've got to figure out how to make what you have already planned work with whoever that is. while I agree that now after 3 games, I think our offensive line does not suit TJ to be ultimately the most successful. And that I think Robbie has the most upside. I don't think we need to dismiss and just say that TJ's not going to be the starter, because there's a reason that Robbie to this point hasn't won that. Let's see. Calzada must be throwing the ball backwards. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. You would think we'd see maybe him a little bit, but not so. If we, I can't even address that comment. No, absolutely not. I will be how the feeling that Devin had earlier about Hugh Freeze, that will be me. And so then I will be a hypocrite. So I'm not even going to go there. The only solace we have is it looks like it's a down year across the SEC West, baby. This again, folks, remember these big overarching thoughts that you're having about Auburn, about everything. This is week 3. Yes, today was a good barometer test for not just us, but for a lot of teams that are getting into more stiffer competition. But there's still a lot of football to be played, a lot of things to be worked on across college football, even outside of Auburn football, that could make things still more interesting. Lots of comments and questions coming in. Goodness, I can't keep up with them all. Salvatore from a PSU alumnus. I like your show. All is not lost for Auburn. You just ran into a very good team. Well, and like I said, Salvatore, I wouldn't call you a very good team, but I would call you a good team right now. Beat some of your stiffer competition in the Big Ten, and then I will concede that point to you. But I appreciate your kind comments about our show, and I hope, I don't know if you were here, but I hope that you had a good experience watching on TV at least. I know you had a good experience because you won. This will make our recruits hungry in the SEC. I mean, it could, but it also can play against us as well. You could see so many missed opportunities in the first half, but we can say that about most of the games from the last season too. True. Penn State's is a team that is up to date. If you, I don't know I think I know where you're coming from, but yeah. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Now we know why we struggled against San Jose State. Maybe. It's not an equal comparison by any stretch of the imagination, but we do know now after the 2 games against quote-unquote inferior opponents and come up against what would be at least considered an equal coming into it, where we stand, and we stand far below Penn State right now. Far below. So for Penn State stands that get upset with me saying I don't think you're a very good team, I just think you're a good team. That is not me saying that I think that you shouldn't have won. You should have won. You beat us, and you're a lot better than us right now. I appreciate that, Cheryl. Thank you so much. It's nice to hear that from time to time because, the haters and such. All right, let's see. Final thoughts. Any others? I'm just trying to see if we get what is this? Give me your acknowledgement. I called this game being a loss. No, you didn't call the game. I'm not going to give you that acknowledgement. You say that. You've been saying that about every game. I love you, Brian, but you've been saying that about every game. So it's kind of like you can keep calling it the same way. Eventually, you're going to be right, kind of thing. So I'm not going to give you that acknowledgement. Love you anyway, though. Keeping my head up. We did that in 2010, and we beat Alabama because of that year. Are you saying about 2000? Are you comparing the championship year to this year? I don't know if that's an equal comparison, but hey. Salvatore says, but Michigan isn't good. They played 3 of the worst teams in football. Maybe so, but you won't know until they play stiff competition. But right now, they're ranked higher than y'all. So I have to assume that the experts know what they're talking about. They did in this case. We're going 12-1. Oh man. I'll put it to you this way. If Auburn goes, I'll have to figure something I can do crazy for y'all. If Auburn goes 12-1 from this point, I'll figure out something crazy to do. Thoughts on playoff chances, Ryan? You're wrong for that. You were okay. Let's see here. Here definitely got these receivers right, but without a decent quarterback, all of their potential is wasted. I don't know that we can say that the receivers are right now or are doing as well as they could be, but I've seen some improvements that Ike Hilliard is clearly responsible for. He's the wide receiver coach, and I like his ability to recruit. So I guess, kind of round things out, because obviously one of the more popular comments and topics of today is, will there be a coaching change? First, you need to ask your question, is this what's right for Auburn right now? I don't think that answer is yes right now. For many reasons, one of those, you'd lose a guy like Ike Hilliard, most likely. There is a scenario, and there will be plenty of time to talk about that if we head that way, where Auburn could salvage this if they did decide to make a coaching change that I think would be very unifying for a lot of people. But we're not going to address that tonight. I'll just let you think about it. All right, guys. I think we're going to end it there. 40-minute show. Didn't even think we'd do it that long because this is such an awful taste in our mouth right now. But I appreciate you guys. I know it's frustrating. I know sometimes we don't agree about these things, but I do appreciate you guys coming to my show, participating, even with the low lighting. I'm sure the audio wasn't as great this time around, too, with me not being able to use my normal microphone. But I do appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart being part of our little family within the Auburn family. So smash that like button on the way out if you can. Check out the links in the description. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow night when we do our Auburn Experience show live. We'll obviously talk a little bit about this, but just the whole Auburn experience, and then lots of other content the rest of the week. Keep your head up, guys. It sucks right now, but we'll figure it out. And it's still always great to be an Auburn Tiger. I was going to make a mean comment about Penn State, but I'm not going to. Congratulations to Penn State. So I'll talk to you guys again. War Eagle.